Hey YouTube, welcome to Let's Talk. I'm not going anywhere particular, I'm just doing this video because, well, last night when I was at ward prayer after work, one of my, I don't know, I guess she's my acquaintance. We're not like really friends, we don't really hang out and do stuff, but someone from my singles ward, she gave the thought at ward prayer, and her story, I've heard similar stories like this times before, at least 3 times, and she reminded me about it, and I'm doing this video just because she reminded me, that I kind of wanted to. And the boiling down her story and all the others, basically it's, oh, that person's not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also known as Mormons, which I am. They're not a member, so can't be friends with them. And then they just end up not feeling like very welcome in Utah, in their neighborhood, even in the whole of Utah. They just don't feel welcome. And that makes me angry. Also sad too, a little bit of both. Because the whole point of the church is to be welcome, inviting to people. We're to bring others unto Christ. That's like the main, that's the huge main point of it. And in yesterday's story, there was a kid, I don't know, 10 years old. Some of his other member friends that kind of sort of stopped hanging out and doing stuff with him because he wasn't a member. That's no. Okay, there are certain circumstances where hanging out less with people, not necessarily being, not necessarily hanging out with them works, but doesn't include not necessarily being friends with them. Here's the thing. So I've got a friend. I met this person and her whole entire family, and they were awesome, and some of my best friends ever that we actually spent time with and hung out with. I met them back when I was going to private school, Kimber Academy. And, we had so much fun. And, I've talked about this in the people falling away, so if you want to know as much as I'm willing to tell, you can go there. But basically, not a member anymore, and she, doesn't believe in God, and we did hang out a while ago, several months ago, and it was, it basically ended up being us going and getting good old Lucy's Pizza and talking, and the talking was, you're really wasting your time with the church, because it's not real, there's no point, here's a bunch of reasons why the church isn't real. I want to save you. And now that I look back on it, it's kind of save me from what? Well, she doesn't believe in God, so I'm highly doubtful that this has anything to do with saving me from, punishment in the afterlife because I chose the wrong religion. It's nothing to do with that. And I think just everything to do with save me from wasting my time here on earth. There's so many things that I could be doing if I didn't go to church and whatnot. Yeah, I realize that. And I haven't spoken to her in a very long time. I'm even nervous to message her about anything. Not that much has come up that I want to message her about, but there was 1 or 2 questions that I had, hey, is your favorite song still this, kind of a thing. And so, but the reason I still love her. I still pray for her, even though she says not to. And this is a point of me kind of sort of being strong, hey. I really like the way former institute teacher put it. Basically kind of paraphrasing what he said. He's got this uncle who he doesn't really hang out with this uncle anymore. Or it was something like that, but basically what he was meaning is, he says, it's hard to hang out with you. I love you, and I want to spend time with you, but you make it difficult. And that's true in the case of my friend. If we get together, I would absolutely love to play some okay video games, watch some okay movies, go get something to eat. There are so many activities we could do. Except for, yeah, you're just wasting your time with that church. I need to save you. No, so, and it's not just about her being a bad influence. I mean, at the time that I went out with her, there were some other things going on, and so there was 1 or 2 seconds where I did kind of sort of think about, leaving the church, but it was very brief. I was able to quickly wash it out by listening to good music and reading my scriptures and doing like I've always done. I'm strong. But it's not necessarily about her being the bad influence anymore, because I'm not worried about her, changing my mind about the church. And I know that, at least for now, I'm not going to change her mind about the church. So, not hanging out with her just makes me sad. But not hanging out with her is more so being useful to, or I'm being helpful to both of us. Because hanging out with me and then spending her breath, her precious words, trying to deconvert me when they're not going to work, and then of course any arguments that I would have to counter that aren't going to work, and so it's kind of sort of pointless. I know I'm not going to change her. She thinks she might change me, which she's not, so not hanging out together is beneficial for both of us. I don't know, she can spend her time, with her boyfriend who she's with forever now, but not married. She can spend her time with him, and, they can, I don't know, if they want to talk about me and how I'm still a member of a ridiculous religion, yeah, sure, but that's their choice. Or other than that, they can just watch their favorite TV shows. Never give up. And never surrender. Yeah, they can watch that sort of, they can do whatever they want, and they're not going to be distracted by me talking. They can think about other things and spend their time on whatever they feel like, and I'm not there for them to have to try and change, which I'm not going to change. So, I mean, they might not see it that way, but it really is kind of sort of beneficial. I'm not going to change them, they're not going to change me, so we don't really speak anymore. I still love them. I would still love to hang out. It's just they make it difficult to. And so that's really the thing. You should love everyone unconditionally. And I know it can be very hard to. I had an experience recently where I finally sort of realize what people go through. Like, I read in the news and different articles and stuff like, this person did something horrible to our family, we're not going to forgive him. And I'm like, well, I get that it's hard and that it hurts, but it's the right thing to forgive. But then I had an experience where I was like, oh, no. I don't want to forgive this person. I have, but I didn't want to. But it's just very, very important to love everyone. And anybody who doesn't, it's not making the church look good, and it's going against what we stand for as members. Honestly. This is nice. But yeah, so we need to, something needs to be done. You guys, people like you need to reevaluate, okay? This is your call to repentance. You don't stop being friends with somebody. You can only stop hanging out with them if they're not a good influence. And this varies from situation to situation. In some cases, especially when you're being guided by the Spirit, He might say, okay, even though every single time you go bowling together, He still tries to talk you out of being a member. But at the same time, the Spirit might say, okay, go ahead and go hang out with them still. The Spirit does so. I mean, in my case, the Spirit hasn't told me to keep hanging out with this person. The Spirit's just kind of said, okay, you did the right thing, stepping away and not doing anything. But I would invite that person over to my house right this second if the Spirit told me to. I'd pray about it, make sure I was getting the right feelings, but I would do that this instant. So, and this is kind of how I'd feel if I was in a sort of scenario. So, I'm going to try and do a little bit of voice acting here for this. Hey, neighbor, so, that person that lives over there, well, I would be cautious of them because they're not members and they're not doing the, the right things and whatnot. I would be cautious of them. So, yeah, just be cautious, okay? No. I'm going to be cautious of you and take that non-member neighbor a plate of cookies and be welcoming to them and invite them into the war. Seriously. That's honestly how I feel inside. Now, I'm still going to love, in my example, I would still love and be kind to the person who's talking about other people and telling me to be cautious of the non-member. But at the same time, they're putting themselves in a situation where I might hang out with them less because they're just talking about other people in a way that's not good, and they're trying to get me to actively, avoid other people. I mean, I respect that somewhere in there could be genuine concern. There could be a level of this person really did do something. This was something posted on Utah filmmakers and actors recently, and it was basically how we need to not blacklist people from our film projects and stuff here in Utah because one person says bad things about them. So my response to that was that we need to be cautious about the person saying bad things and the person they're talking about. Simply because, so we got a person who's called A. Person A has been accused of doing X. If we give person A a 100% fair chance, but keep in the back of our mind that they could do X, and then they do X, we'll be a lot more prepared for X than if we say, no, they're not going to do X, and then they do X. So, if someone says things about another person and is not very welcoming to them, keep some of those things in your mind, just in case. But don't put them on the forefront. Be welcoming and inviting to lots of people. That's my challenge for you, okay? Just try and be welcoming and inviting to pretty much everybody. And if you do have to stop hanging out with somebody, pray for them. Pray for yourself that you can know how to actually help them if necessary, how to maybe still be friends with them, but not end up in the wrong situations. It's different for every situation. Not clear cut, but the Spirit will guide you on this. And they will help you help these people. They will help guide you in situations of how much should I take, how much of these words should I take actually in, how much should I push them out, what can I do to bless these non-member families, because the point is we want to make them feel welcome. Oh yeah, this was another point that I was thinking of earlier. You want to make them feel welcome and inviting, and part of the way that you can do that is invite them to activities. If they're not going to be super rude and inappropriate and tell all of these things that aren't right, and then okay, they're causing a scene, maybe not the best to invite them to a ward activity, but if they're going to be nice and they're going to be friendly and they're going to talk nice just be an overall nice person, someone you expect to be nice, then there's nothing wrong with having them over at the church for the Ward Chili Cook-Off or whatever activity. You know, at the state they're in, they can't go to the church, but a lot of good comes from these friendships. A lot of people are converted. You just see how nice you are being friends. So that's something that we really seriously need to work on here. And I'm going to say this one more time, one more thing, I honestly, I would rather be friends with a non-member who does some smoking and drinking, but is a relatively nice guy, than I would a member who encourages me to not be friends with them. That's the honest 100% truth coming from my heart. Final thing I'm going to say. When I think about all the fun times I had with my friends, it just makes me sad. And that's partly why I would invite them over today if the Spirit told me to. Anyways, I'm going to end it here. Hopefully I've given some people inspiration and helped some people, come closer unto Christ and help you guys maybe be more inviting other people. There are a lot of things you can do. I didn't really cover that in this video, but taking cookies was in my example. There are just a lot of things we can do to be welcoming and inviting and that we should do. And it really, really does make me sad/angry anytime I hear about somebody who doesn't feel welcome because they're not a member. You should totally feel welcome. And it's not the whole church that's doing that if you're not feeling welcome somewhere, because it means you just hit, we'll say you hit a rotten egg as far as the church goes. Anyways, leave a like down below if this helped you or inspired you. You just liked it. Consider subscribing. I talk about other topics like this and plenty of other non-religious things and so much stuff on my channel. I'll see you guys in whatever's next.